I have 5 things that I wanted to lay out for you about this question of how might we cultivate processes for MEL through an integrated learning approach. So the first is really to start small. So begin with manageable, relevant, and engaging processes to demonstrate the value of this and build interest. And don't try to do it all at once. Think about how you can do one small shift that might start to open people's minds. So one thing that I've found really useful that you may already be familiar with is the adaptive action cycle, where you ask 3 kind of deceptively simple questions of what, so what, and now what. The next thing I would say is to tread lightly. By this, I mean that maybe you don't always have to use the word evaluation or MEL. I like to go into new spaces and understand where people are at. Look for ways that you can do this work, but in a way that isn't really imposing your language of MEL into that. The third is to build on what you have. You still have kind of the basic accountability, financial due diligence. You still need to have your house in order, right? And then you still need to be considering your impact, what is happening out in the world. But then often you stop there. And it's adding this idea of accountability for learning and development is just as important as the others to get to that mission. That's where developmental evaluation, reflective practice, adaptive action sits. And if you can show where that fits within some of the other more traditional accountability models, that can be really powerful. This idea of managing the frame is my 4th piece. This idea of simple, complicated, complex that often comes up when we're working in system change. Like, where are we working and what is the fit for purpose? Like, what makes sense to be doing here? And that brings me to the last one, which is just this idea of adapting as you go. So you start with a plan, but you have to be ready to adjust. So this is that adaptation process, but not to get stuck doing the same thing just because it's what you started, but really being flexible.